and now working his way up to the top of the card, and I think that's where Alex Shelley would like to be someday.
Well, Alex Shelley certainly shown great, vast improvement over the last year's time. And I'll tell you something, in here this week, he's definitely got his hands full. This has got to be his toughest challenge to date.
And fans, don't forget, also coming up tonight in our main event, we will crown a new Border City Wrestling television champion as the future Frankie Kazarian takes on the new effing show, Jerry Lynn.
Look at Bobby Roode as he forces him back into the corner, says, I'll tell you something, Bobby Roode on a mission, but Alex Shelley using a little bit of speed.
Well, his cockiness there on Bobby Roode kind of backfired on him, and now Alex Shelley with a back elbow on him.
Alex Shelley coming out here, and I think catching Bobby Roode a little bit off balance here. You would think that Bobby Roode would know, after his experience with Showtime Eric Young, that you always got to be on your game when you're in a BCW ring.
I think Bobby Roode didn't expect this kind of fight out of Alex Shelley. He's a newcomer here to Border City Wrestling. No one really knew much about him. I don't think Bobby Roode really studied his tapes very well.
Well, Bobby Roode out there, he's looking to get a breather, and Alex Shelley saying, there's no timeout in BCW.
Taking the fight out to the floor, he knows that if he can beat Bobby Roode.
And the instant replay, you see beautiful plancha through the second and top rope, catching Bobby Roode flush in the upper chest and jaw, and Bobby Roode seems to be shaken up early on.
As I was about to say, I think a win for Alex Shelley over someone the stature of Bobby Roode. 1, 2, almost a 3 here earlier on the contest. That would really vault Alex Shelley into the annals of Border City Wrestling.
Well, Shelley here, certainly, I'll tell you what, so far he looks like he's the experience of this matchup, but Bobby Roode cutting him off with a beautiful tilt-a-whirl backbreaker.
Looked like Shelley went to the well one too many times, went for a cross body block, caught by the huge arms of Bobby Roode and slammed down across the knee, and now Bobby Roode continues to punish on Alex Shelley's lower back.
Well, something that Bobby Roode definitely brings to the table, on top of his skill, on top of his strength, is a certain aggression, that inherent need to attack, something that you can't teach a competitor, something that is inherent in you, and Bobby Roode definitely has that.
And now Bobby Roode pounding away, now kicking him in the chest. I know you, Scott, you've been in the ring many, many times in your career, and how hard is it to breathe when you've got those ribs poking right into your lungs?
Bobby Roode here gets the man in the corner, continues to work on the chest. He's a big man, he's a brawler, but don't let it take away from the fact this man is very technically skilled. You'll see a lot of moves out of Roode that you wouldn't expect from a man who has his kind of demeanor.
And now Alex Shelley's starting to fire up here a little bit on Bobby Roode. Big reversal. Oh my God, drives the knee into the stomach, falls him through again, another big knee.
Well, shades of Bobby Roode's trainer, Val Venus there, as we see the two big knees followed up by the Russian leg sweep, and he almost got a count of 3 there.
I gotta tell you something, Scott. Bobby Roode has put himself in tremendous physical condition since his last stint here in Border City Wrestling. He's put on at least almost 50 pounds.
Oh, Doug, I don't know if he's put on 50 pounds. I would say maybe 15. I know a guy like you that's never seen the gym doesn't know much about lifting, but Bobby Roode certainly does look great as he sets him up here and drops a beautiful textbook knee drop.
Right across the board, goes for the cover. 1, 2, almost a 3 there. Maybe he should have hooked the leg. Could have finished off this youngster, Alex Shelley.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a great opening contest here, and we've got an outstanding main event. But I got one question for you, Doug. What does Chris Sabin think about Frankie Kazarian stepping in? Not just the fact that he calls himself the future too, but the fact that he leapfrogged Sabin right to a TV title match.
Well, Frank Kazarian, a well-skilled wrestler himself, making his Border City Wrestling debut, and it seems that the board of directors has given him the title shot over Chris Sabin.
Well, I'll tell you, I was instrumental in Frankie Kazarian coming to Border City Wrestling. I saw Frankie when we were on tour with the World Wrestling All-Stars overseas, and his kid's definitely got some game. But I never in my wildest dreams thought that they'd bring him in, and on his first night in, almost getting a roll-up there, Shelley. Bobby Roode cutting him off. I never thought that Kazarian would have a title match his very first night competing in the ring.
And look at Bobby Roode shouting at you fans here at home, telling you all to just shut your mouths as he's handling Alex Shelley here in the ring. And Scott, Frank Kazarian, speaking of the Super 8 tournament, he was in not 1 but 2 Super 8 tournaments in the past. And look what it's done for his career.
Well, Frankie Kazarian is definitely one of the very top competitors out there. When you talk about indie names, you're talking about a guy who competes in 0-1 in Japan, 2 Super 8s like you talk about. Definitely the man has credentials. But you know the attitude that Chris Sabin has, and you got to think that a cocky kid like that with a chip on his shoulder has got to be going, wait a second, I'm the future of BCW.
Well, here you see Alex Shelley hoping that the future for him involves a win over Bobby Roode as he hits a neck backbreaker there. Almost, that's a very interesting move as he goes for the cover. 1, 2. Oh my God, 2.5 there.
Beautiful combo there, and I'll tell you what, Alex Shelley's showing that he is definitely for real here in this matchup. Bobby Roode is bigger than him, more experienced than him, but Alex Shelley's been in there from second one of this matchup.
And a big backdrop followed up with like a savate kick there to the ribs on Bobby Roode, and the fans here are starting to get solidly behind Alex Shelley.
Well, Alex Shelley, as you said, I think the fans are starting to take to him. You know, he's got a bit of that cocky attitude to him, but sometimes that's a good thing.
Springboard off the second rope, sunset flip. Bobby Roode rolls through, hooks him up. 1, oh my God, picks him up. Power bomb.
Bobby Roode definitely showing his strength there. And now he's setting up here. This could be, that's right, it's the Canadian Cloverleaf, the Canadian Cloverleaf. And Bobby Roode has got this one tied up. This kid's in trouble now.
Alex Shelley's neck is just jacked against the mat here. Alex Shelley taps out. Bobby Roode victorious here in our opening contest.
Well, Bobby Roode said that he had something to prove in Border City Wrestling. He was a little mad at you, Doug, for showing that footage for Centennial. He said that was a warm-up match for him, that he wasn't taken serious. He said we'd see the real Bobby Roode here this week. And I'll tell you something, if that's the real Bobby Roode, I'm real impressed.